The dark side of Zepbound vials. Hi friends, Elizabeth, Countess of Shopping. I'm super excited to be here with you with this story today about Zepbound vials. I have been on Mounjaro and now Zepbound because of the Mounjaro shortage. For the last 15 months, I've lost over 84 pounds. And today I wanted to bring you something that I thought was super interesting. I credit from my group member, and I'll link my group down below. It's free, a totally free group for people on Mounjaro, Zepbound, Wegovy, all are welcome at that table. Semaglutide, tirzepatide. It's linked down below, and stay tuned. Shortage issues here at the end of the video. But in the interim, Zepbound vials. So Nairi is the one who I'm crediting for this incredible conversation that I think might be of interest to you if you're looking at Zepbound vials to help with the Mounjaro shortage, the Zepbound shortage, and helping to alleviate some of these supply chain issues that we're seeing with Eli Lilly, the manufacturer of Zepbound and the manufacturer of Mounjaro. I'm literally getting ready to leave on a plane, and I wanted to film this video before I left, filming on April 11th, in case 2024. In case data changes, this is the film date on there. And if things do change, I will update it in the description link between now and by the time this gets released. So Nairi wrote in my group, and I had asked her permission to share this on the video. She says, I see a lot of the posts talking about, quote, release the vials and such. Am I the only one who has concern that, this is why it's the dark side of it, am I the only one that has concern that there are a lot of people are going to abuse it? Meaning abuse the Zepbound vials. Especially with a plethora of telehealth providers, I'm worried that some cannot be trusted to be responsible, sourcing brand name and compounds to increase their own dosages to get, air quote, maximum weight loss as quick as possible. I get being scared of those rare instances are going to cause health issues that may cause problems for Eli Lilly, because who is going to overdose, cause serious issue, and then not admit to doing that? Please dose responsibly. She further goes on and says, I want us to continue to have access to this and whatever generations of these types of medicines come next. And most importantly, enjoy the new lease on life as we have been provided this, end quote. And Nairi, bless you, by the way, because I had not even thought of this, friends. And this is why that group, Iron Sharpens Iron, truly that group is, don't join my group unless you're fun, smart, and kind. If you're not that, then to go to someone else's group. But my group is only fun, smart, and kind folks. But in there, I was saying, gosh, this is such a great point. I hadn't thought about that, about how there can be abuses on this. And what really struck out to me is what she was saying about people making up their own dosages. Instead of doing it every 7 days, doing it every 5 days, which we have seen people doing that. Don't be one of those people. That's dangerous. And that it can be a responsibility issue. And then another group member brilliantly, and I really very much agreed with this also, chimed in and said, let me scroll over to her comment. And this is why, if you're wondering why Eli Lilly is pausing this for the US. Now, we do know, or we meaning I should say, I know because of my group members, that Australia already has the vials. For Zepbound or Mounjaro, it's one of the two. They have the vials already, as does another country, a foreign country to the United States. The United States does not have this yet. It was for the FDA. If you guys didn't see those videos, by the way, go back in my history. Make sure you click like and subscribe and go back into here. It was on the FDA access data, and it was in previous videos, my link to those of where they updated the FDA PDF on these vials, which is exciting. There it is. There's the actual ones of what they look like. You got to buy your own pen. Excuse me, not pen. It's not a pen. So it's not this. This is what's causing these shortages, is the actual pens for Mounjaro and the pens for Zepbound. So you're going to have to buy a needle to go with those vials if it does get released in the US. I think April 30th, one of our group members, Brad, had said that, and that was his original genesis of this idea, which I thought was brilliant. Brad, he gets the credit for that, was on April 30th is the investors call for Eli Lilly. I bet you we may hear it then. He said that, and I would agree with it too. So another group member says, to counter, Jenny says, this is valid and a noble concern. However, I don't think we need to keep something so very badly needed away from them because of fear. She went on to talk a little bit about personal experience on there, and that the shortage is very much affecting her, which is very true. And that was also my counter too of, and this is, I'm sure what Eli Lilly, if you're watching, call me. I'd love to get sponsored by you. I love your meta. It's changed my life. 84 pounds. It's definitely changed my life. So then another one, a person says that these are single use vials. So meaning they're once a week. Just like how our pens are once a week, these vials would be once a week. And then another group member went in, and I think that this is so interesting going through, because immediately when I saw this FDA access data PDF update, meaning that it was for the FDA to put this included in the PDF, I'm like, why are these not released? We're having massive shortages, but I think Eli Lilly is smartly, and I give them credit, and this is why I appreciate them, of being thoughtful. In the US, people may be doing things like this, and I'm sure worldwide too, not just the US, but I do find this very interesting. And then another group member says, so there's a possibility of people asking for 15, Sarah had said this, 15 milligram vials. My Martinsville comes out when I says that, Martinsville, Virginia, vials. I really just want to say vials, but I'm correcting myself each time and saying vials. The 15 milligram vials, so they can essentially pay for 1 month, but get 3 to 6 months worth of medicine if they're only on 2.5 or 5 milligrams. That would cut Eli Lilly's profits significantly, she says, and as will make it harder for people on 15 milligrams to actually get the high dose they need, because there's so many irresponsible telehealth providers and even regular doctors who give patients whatever they ask for. She went on to say, I would see this as a potential block for Lilly to produce vials, which is another very good point. Again, Sarah, I hadn't thought about any of these things. This is why this group is so fantastic. Then another group member says, Linda says, there's thousands of people who are prescribed the compound in vials. I am one of them, and there is only so much in the vial, 2 to 4 doses depending on the amount. And so just to clarify, these would be like how the pens are 1 week, the vials would be 1 week too. Then another group member says, okay, well, there would be, I'm worried if they release the vials to the branding stuff, there would be no longer, there would not be a shortage, and then the FDA would no longer allow compounds, which is true. You need to know this information. If a compound pharmacy is still prescribing or giving out, they're not prescribing, but they're the ones giving out the compounds. The compound pharmacy is giving out medication after the FDA shortage, it's not on the FDA shortage list anymore. That is not a reputable compound pharmacy. Like, take note. Take note, that's against, you can't do that. So going back to this comment that Leslie had said, the FDA would no longer allow compounds. What happens to those who don't have insurance coverage for GLP-1 and wouldn't have access to the compounds? Which is a very, some people, we don't like the shortage, but it is benefiting thousands and thousands. Because of the shortage, I had recommended I had very much poo-pooed compounds. Newsflash, I will probably be going on a compound in the next week because I'm sure I'm not anybody special. I know I won't be able to get my medication just as like someone down the road. So I have, because of Join Fridays, I'm already in their system. And this is why you want to get in the system with someone like, if not Join Fridays, but I don't understand why you wouldn't want to do Join Fridays. Join Fridays does both brand names, so Mounjaro and Zepbound, but they also do both compounds. I'm trying to pull up my discount code. There it is. It's discount code QUEEN. So if you go to Join Friday's website, you can see the compound prices. The prices are very, very much in line with the marketplace, which I appreciate. They could jack up the pricing because their customer service is chef's kiss. But the discount code is QUEEN for Join Fridays. But so going back over to this, that I think is a very, very valid point. One of our group members is from Australia, says Mounjaro was released in Australia last year of what we call single-use vials. We never got the pens, she's saying, Gabrielle is saying in Australia. The vials come in all the same dosages as the pens and all have the same amount of liquid in them. The concentration of the medicine goes up with each dose, says Gabrielle. It is still recommended to start at 2.5 milligrams per week for 4 weeks and then move up to 5 milligrams and so on. The vials are for single use only and do not contain any preservatives. So Eli Lilly says clearly on the instructions that if you are to draw up your dose for 50 units and then discard any remaining medicine, there is always a little extra left in the vial. And she inserted pictures. I'm not going to show those on there because that's her stuff, but this is great information. She says she purchased 4 of the vials with 5 milligrams and 4 vials of the 15 milligrams, planning on to split those into doses of 15 into 2 doses of 7.5 milligrams and 7.5 milligrams. I did this in consultation with my doctor and in full knowledge that there may be a slight risk of infection in taking more than 1 dose out of the single vial, because again, you go back to what she said earlier, there's no preservatives. In reality, 7.5 milligrams was too strong for me. So after 2 weeks of the 7.5 milligrams, I dropped back down to 5 milligrams, Gabrielle says. And so she split the remaining 15 milligram doses 3 times 5 milligram doses. When they ran out, I had to switch back. Oh my God, is there a bug in here? Oh my gosh. Sorry, I don't do bugs. I think there's a bug flying. And my face is on fire. You guys know I had a laser treatment, so my face is also crazy on fire right now. I need to go put like a little mask on my face. And I'm boarding an airplane, but I wanted to get you guys this information. I'm sorry, I thought there was a bug flying over and I was about ready to freak out. So she's saying she dropped back down. They ran out. She had to switch back over to Ozempic, as you could not purchase the vial in Australia. An online supplier brought in 25,000 vials of Mounjaro, the entire remaining stock, in one hit, and it cornered the market on it. Now, because most people were on lower doses, it was released back in October last year. Some pharmacists broke up the single-use vials, 7.5, 10, 12.5 milligrams, and 15 milligrams into individual syringes of 2.5 milligrams and 5 milligrams, and sold those online and sent the syringes out to patients who had a script. Ozempic is being compounded here, but not Mounjaro. So splitting up the vials was the only option. They said that they were doing this in sterile conditions, but who knows if you trust if that's true. You need to trust them if you're going to purchase from them. So I went on to doing this December and January, and into February with some stock of 5 milligrams came back into Australia. The local chemist got one single-use vial of 5 milligrams, in which I purchased. The next week, 2 vials. I continued to purchase each vial. You should know that Mounjaro is not subsidized here by insurance company in Australia. So in Australia, we pay whatever the chemist wants to charge for a vial, and they are much more expensive than others. That is why we can buy up stock. Usually you have to wait 21 days before refilling a script. Eli Lilly tells us that there will be limited supply drops until August this year. And you guys saw from my correction video, I was saying the August date for us here in the US. That's not true, that was for Australia. Our shortage date per the Eli Lilly investment call, which was back in February 2024, says that by the end of this year, meaning the end of this year, like the holiday seasons, like ho, 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 we will still be experiencing shortages. Which, wait till the April 30th investor meeting. I cannot wait to, I'm chomping at the bit on this, but let me go back over to what our Australia friend is telling us. She's saying that Eli Lilly says that they have fixed the problem with the supplier cornering the market again by having warehouses limit the amounts each individual chemist is allowed to order per week. I hope this gives you an idea what to expect when if the vials are released in the US. This is incredible, by the way, and she's given the pictures. Oh my gosh, I'm not going to give the pictures here. You got to go to my group to get them, but thank you, by the way, Gabrielle. You are a gem for sharing this information. And one of our other great group members had another counterpoint to this, again, because this is talking about the dark side of vials. Let's see here. I want to bring this point that she had said because I thought it was an exceptional point. It's one of our great group members who I love to pieces, and I always value it. It was Kalina. Kalina, love you, girl. She says, I was also thinking how empty vials could be stolen. This is US based, so the Australia group member, this is the different US-based group member. Kalina says, I was also thinking how empty vials can be stolen or filled with who knows what, or even if people have vials, will use the meds and sell them to bad people looking to scam people. I feel like there is so much more danger in the vials. They just need to focus in on making these pens more efficiently. I still don't think the vials will come here, but if so, I hope the pen will still be an option. And I think that that's a great point also to share that I hadn't thought about, because my brain does not go to, what is it, nefarious? I'm saying that improperly. My brain doesn't go to bad places. I wouldn't think like this, like I'm at a loss for words kind of on it. Like my brain just doesn't go there of, oh wow, I'm going to take the vial of that and fill it up with yucky stuff and then resell that to somebody. But this is absolutely correct. She's absolutely correct. That is what will happen. And then another group member says, once you have the cap on it, it will, because it's a safety feature for this very reason, which is why Kalina is so smart. And that's why I love her as a great group member, because she's always got great points as we walk through this process together of GLP-1 medication. And she was saying that. And then another group member says, well, you can tell in these vials, has a single use. It has like, you can blatantly tell if the top part on it is busted or opened, or not busted, but open. That was the Martinsville coming out too. If it was opened, like if the syringe had been, you could tell it had been used. But then my counterpoint to that too is people could just flip that around. And then if you're having these things, these vials, it would seem much harder to have those than it would be like a pen. Like this is really, when you look at it, like that's really smart. The way that they've engineered this pen and the safety manufacturers, and that was the first thing when I got my Mounjaro 2.5 milligrams, I immediately said to my husband, I said, they made this almost dummy proof, but not quite, because I almost did inject myself improperly. And I consider myself to be a pretty smart cookie. And so I could see they have safety checks on here, but I also could see the counter, because many of our group members have also told me that they've improperly used the pen. I could also see how someone could do that who's smart and that it is kind of a nerve-wracking thing. I was literally shaken the first time I did my Mounjaro pen injection. So I could also see if you have this doing it incorrectly, it has the lock button on there. You can see the two different colors, and you've got the cap that you have to pull this cap off before you do it, then unlock it, and then push it against the skin to do it. And then once it's done, you can see it's squished. There's no one squishing that. It's like a pickle. Once a cucumber becomes a pickle, it's a pickle. It doesn't go back to becoming a cucumber. It's a pickle. And so same thing with this. Once this is squished, it doesn't go back. So that's what's causing the shortage on that. And that's where I think this is, having these conversations, I never would have thought of this information and the information on the scammers. And the reason why I'm bringing these scammers up, I don't give any light to darkness. I'm not about that. But I wanted to share because I'm seeing so many scams happening. A group member, and I gave the business, if this was you, I did give you the business with love, grace, kindness, and compassion, but was like, oh, they're buying their medication from a person on Facebook. I said, babes, that is illegal and so dangerous. Like, that could really hurt you, if not worse than hurt you. Make it so you don't see tomorrow's sunrise. Like, don't buy random prescriptions, please, if you're watching my video. And I know most of you guys watching, you're intelligent folks, and that we love to save money. We're financial great stewards, and we're not going to try to save money on getting, that's where I'm like, I love to save money, but I'm not going to do that on something I'm injecting into my body, right? Like, I love couponing and things like that, but I'm not going to do that with a medication, because it's a medication that's going into my body, and reputable ones, which is why I love Join Fridays. I mean, I really do. Now, you need to do your own due diligence on that. I recommend Join Fridays, left, right, and sideways. That is my experience, strength, and hope. I absolve myself of any sort of legal liability, because you got to do your own due diligence with that. For me, as for my house, they've been wonderful in terms of getting the brand name Mounjaro injection, and then I had to move to Zepbound because of the shortage, and then now I'll be moving to compounds. They've been wonderful. It's been a wonderful experience. I felt like I've been treated with grace, dignity, and kindness. And this particular video is not sponsored by them, but I wanted to share because I know, speaking of saving money, you get 25% off your first month. And it's a membership, so you do pay every month with that, as with any telehealth company. And they have included in there weekly dietitian calls, mental health calls, movement calls. They've got all these calls as part of your membership. It's even just the calls with the dietitian are way more. I know the price point on what those should be. You're getting a deal, like a massive, massive deal. Just those calls alone with the dietitian, it's a group call, just that. People would pay, and I know people would pay $400, $500 a month for what they're getting, because a dietitian, this particular dietitian, has their master's degree. It's not like a nutritionist, where a nutritionist, you can get a certificate online. I could become a nutritionist. And like, you see what I'm saying? So she went to her undergrad and then her master's too on that. So anyways, I'm going down a rabbit hole. I want to go back over to this too. And then another group member did say, out of all this, people can be creative to figure out how to refill the pens also. We can't really stop people from taking the risk and bypassing valid prescriptions with medical providers. And Canada and Australia have been getting the vials for a while. I wonder if they're having these problems that we're speaking about. So, yeah, let me see if I'm missing any other comments, because it was such a good conversation. Literally, I didn't sleep last night, and I was like, I have to get on an airplane. I have to do all these things. And I'm like, I haven't even packed my stuff. But I wanted to bring you this information because I thought it was such a good conversation. Talking about the dark side of vials. Like, I think we need to bring these subjects up because if you're wondering, why aren't they released? Release the vials and the hashtag that I've been seeing on social media. And it makes sense why the company, why Eli Lilly is being thoughtful, careful with it. And yes, it has been released in smaller markets in Canada and Australia, and that's amazing. My other inclination was like, does Eli Lilly think that we're dumb ASSs? Like, do they think... Like, do they think that like the US is just ding dongs? Like that one kid in school that you're like, that Canada and Australia, I'm teasing. The Canada and Australia are smarter than the US people because they have these, I mean, these concerns are valid. Maybe their country is not as much, I'm joking. I'm tongue in cheeking, so take it down a notch. I know some people are getting mad at me. I'm joking. It's a joke. We need to lighten the mood because I don't know about you, there's shortage. I keep telling everybody that we be anxious over nothing. In a year from now, 2 years from now, we're going to look back and be like, one of my group members said, this is like the COVID toilet paper. Like we'll look back and like kind of be like, oh yeah, remember the links I went to? I drove to another state. I drove 10 hours. I went in the snow with no shoes on to go get my prescription. But does that not tell how life-changing these medications? For me, it has been. For me, it absolutely has been. I mean, just what a change in life. And I'm grateful for that. So, and I appreciate the conversation and dialogue. And I hope you guys do too. If you've made it this far in the video, I really appreciate the conversation on this. A couple things that I do want to make sure. One, if you have not seen my Mounjaro Amazon shopping list and you're just starting Mounjaro or just starting Zepbound or tirzepatide or semaglutide if you're on the compounds, I've got a Amazon shopping list. I buy everything off of Amazon. Including my smart tape measure, which I highly recommend, including my smart tape, my smart scale. It has 13 different components besides just weight. I mean, weight's on there, but there's 12 other things, one of which is muscle mass. It'll tell you if you're losing muscle mass, which you probably are, but keeping track of that. The two, the smart tape, and then this sync together on one app. And if you have blood pressure issues, they do also have a blood pressure cuff that will sync into one app. So all of your readings will be in one spot. How cool is that? I also have, and you guys know I've raved about this. It's been one of my favorite products. I've been testing it for months, but I've been talking about it recently. I am obsessed with my magnesium to help with sleep. It's helped with anxiety, muscle recovery. Many of you guys I told I've been doing wall Pilates. I'm so sore today. But magnesium, this has 7 types of magnesium. The other one I was taking only had 1. And then I've added on there and have been testing this. This is the wrong container, but it looks like this. They have a sleep breakthrough. Now I have gnarly sleep, like gnarly. So this has been very helpful for me. I don't think the average bear needs the sleep breakthrough. I think you need to talk to your own doctor before taking any supplements, but I highly recommend. And the discount code in that is also Queen. And then the other thing is for loose skin. Y'all, I was in the shower yesterday and I was doing my scrub. I tell you guys, I have done my loose skin cream. I bought and tested like 40 of them with my own money. I'm not sponsored by them. And I've started using now the Balm Dia scrub. I've linked it down below. And then with the loose skin cream. And so I was doing it yesterday. Y'all, I got so sad. And I'm trying, like my skin is jacked up. Like it's really jacked up. This helps. It's not going to change my skin. What's really going to change my skin is I'm going to have surgery. The accountant and I have already been saving for when that day. I got to be done with my weight loss. I'm not at the end of my weight loss journey yet, but once I do, I will get loose skin surgery because my stomach and my thighs are a mess. It looks like dough, but this really helps me. And I had a little cry and I kind of want to cry right now about it. I just feel embarrassed about it. I'm trying not to feel embarrassed about it. Sorry, I don't mean to cry in this video. I like get so emotional. I realized last night I am very sensitive and I feel like being over 100 pounds overweight, I used food to make me not as sensitive, that I'm really very a sensitive person. And so like sometimes I just cry like this. So forgive me. I'm like so embarrassed. I don't want to cry. I feel so stupid crying right now. But I realized I'm a very sensitive person. And so anyways, I was putting I did my little scrub and then I put my loose skin cream on and I realized like, my body's really different and I'm really grateful for that. And I'm trying, and I feel like this is the next step of my journey. And the whole reason why I'm sharing with you is hopefully to encourage you of accepting that this is the next step. I didn't mean to do this on today's video. This was going to be another video, but surprise, you get a little extra today.
This is the next step. It's accepting where my body has changed significantly. Like, this is a completely different person, and accepting that this is my new part of my life, and this comes with it. There's scars from my old life that I still have, like these stretch marks that are, oh. One thing I did want to say on that taking a right turn, because I feel very uncomfortable right now, and I feel very uncomfortable crying on camera, but hopefully it will help somebody if you also feel this way too, like that you're not alone, is as I was doing my injection last night also on my stomach, and I realized I have so much loose skin on the vials or on the pens for Mounjaro and for Zepbound. They say not to put it in like pills, picks, and I forget the terminology that Eli Lilly uses. I interpret it to be basically like stretch marks or like scars. You don't want to inject in there. And I realize I have like all around my stomach, my belly button area is like stripes. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm like injecting it in, and I don't know. I was wondering, and I'm wondering, and so I'm gonna seek more information on this. This was just something I was wondering last night as I was going through this process. They tell us not to put the pen, like to put the injection in those particular places, and so I'm wondering if that's like, I don't know. I'm curious about that. Of like my whole stomach is all stretch marks and the like scars, and so if that is affecting my injection, like if I should be doing different injection sites. So I'm going to talk to my healthcare provider. It's whenever you guys ask me medical questions, I'm like, have you talked to your healthcare provider? So I'm going to talk to my healthcare provider about that. But thanks for being here today. I didn't mean to get emotional. I realize I'm very sensitive, and if I don't let it out, that I will let it out with food in another way. And I'm learning, you guys have seen the last 15 plus months, I'm healing my relationship with food. And sometimes things just come out, and I'm learning still how to process all of those too. So, and it's embarrassing, a little bit embarrassing for me. So I feel somewhat embarrassed, but I'm hoping it will help somebody. So I'm hoping my experience, strength, and hope, because again, none of this is medical advice. Always talk to your own healthcare provider. If I have updates between the time that this is released and the filming date, I will put it in the description and also in the comments. I'll pin a comment being like, hey, here's the update. Because that happened to me twice last week. There was updated information after I had filmed it, and with my travel schedule for my clients, YouTube's not my main gig. I'm going to go be an executive producer. Several of you guys had asked, you're so sweet, and when I'm in Vegas, could I meet up? And I love you guys so much, but I will be working, and I'm getting paid a lot of money to be really good at my job. And so I like to stay laser focused, which is why I'm like, my family doesn't come with me. Like I'm like in it to not get distracted. So I would love to do a meetup, just not when I'm getting as an executive producer. Like that's when I have like tunnel vision. And if you've made it this far, surprise, many of you guys have followed my QVC journey. It's been crazy. I was on YouTube and Oprah, and then QVC, I am an approved guest co-host. And so I have potentially an upcoming QVC job too. So surprise, there you go. I keep hitting refresh on my email. I'm like, did they email yet? They haven't emailed me back. So it's not confirmed yet. But okay, sweet friends, if we're going to do our emoji for today is going to be a light bulb or light. That is our emoji. If you're like, what is this emoji thing? It helps me to get to know you better. One, it lets me know that you made it this far in the video, which means you probably like this content. It helps me to get to know you better because I do truly care. And number three, I will pray over you. If you don't believe in prayer, I will uplift you in positive thought. And one more, I started crying yesterday. My husband's like, why are you crying? And it was one of our group members, many group members had on a previous video or videos had asked for prayers. And y'all prayed over. A lot of you did. Other people who had asked for prayers, and it just made me lose my bananas. It made me so emotional yesterday. I'm like, this is the most beautiful thing. And some people watching are like, oh, she's such a crybaby. I'm like, I know, I am. It made me lose my bananas. I'm like, this group is so awesome. I am so grateful for each and every one of you. Like, you tell me how much I encourage you. No, you encourage me. Really encourage me. I go back to this woman over here, and she was sad and had no hope. I got my life back. And so I want to shout that from the rooftops. So if you're just starting your journey, or you've been on your journey longer than me, longer than 15 months, I am really grateful for you. I'm really grateful for you. I'm going to stop crying now. I got to go get on an airplane. I got to go pack my freaking suitcase too. So be kind to yourself, be kind to others. Put down below the emoji light. And also, what are you doing today to move you closer to your goal? I want to hold you accountable. Let's be accountable in this video. Tell me what you're doing to move you closer to your goal. I read those. I may not always reply, but I do read everything. So love y'all. See you soon. Bye, guys.